So I'd like to concern myself with that. Hard words are the major stumbling block for everybody, not only for non-native speakers. Hard words. What are hard words, and why are there so many hard words in English? German vocabulary is so easy in comparison, believe me. Really true. I'll come to that in a minute. I don't link that from the net. I looked that up on the net, wanted to know what hard words are, and this came up. Okay, hard words are hard to spell, acquiesce, hard to pronounce, an enemy, okay, and hard to understand because they are rarely used, pulchritudinous or something like that. All true, but I would like to approach this from a different angle, from a historical angle. So, what are hard words? And the question is, how did they get into the language? I think there is a big difference in the way that hard words got into the language and words which are deemed to be not as hard. Generally speaking, you can say that hard words are not of English or Scandinavian origin. They come from somewhere else. French, Latin, Greek, predominantly. Others too, but these are the three big ones. So, look at that. Latin loanwords usually deemed to be hard. You have something like alleviate, and you have in Latin levis, and which is light, and to alleviate, make light, or something like this. Ameliorate, to make better. Melior is better in Latin, or benevolent. Bene is well, and vele is something like will, and so good-willed or something. And those are Latin as well here, if you look down there. Corroborate, denigrate, disseminate, exacerbate, indefatigable, inimical, munificent, obfuscate, recalcitrant, reprehensible, ubiquitous, omnipresent, and so on, you name them. These are, first of all, Latin loan words. Okay, they are hard, yes. Greek words, usually less hard. That's funny, but you would probably think Greek is even harder than Latin, but no, it's not. Method, system, analysis, bishop, television, photography, homosexual, authentic, and so on. And generally speaking, Greek words less hard than Latin words. Just think a word of the type. It's Greek. Okay. If you look at that, case in point here, of the 500 most common English words, 20 are of Greek origin, or even more, I think. But here we go. Place, problem, school, system, program, idea, story, base, center, period, history, type, music, Greek. Political, police, policy, paper, phone, economic, and zoo. Look at those. Very basic vocabulary. You would not find one word which came directly from Latin to be as easy as those. Less hard. I wouldn't even call those hard words. Problem. Why should that be a hard word? But still, it's all Greek. Okay. But back to the real hard words. Here are some words which came into English through French, Latin words through French. Okay, so arrive, which is arriver in French, but it's Latin adripam, means to the shore, to arrive at the shore. Okay, usually used for ships. Arrive, reject. Rejecte, rejacere, to throw back in Latin. Refuse, to give back or receive, to bring back. Still, these words, I don't know whether I would deem them hard. But what they all have in common, yes, they are of Latin origin, but mediated through French, as are the other ones here, yeah? Chair, forest, farm, pork, question, peasant, government, mayor, soldier, money, state, jail, animal, cream, castle. Okay. And others too. So, if you look at those, the words like arrive or reject, yeah, some of this, they came into the English language with the Normans 12th and 13th century, whereas ameliorate and obfuscate and some of that, they came into the English language during the Renaissance and later during the scientific revolutions from Latin. So French words are more part of everyday vocabulary than those that come straight from Latin, and the reason is they are older. Okay, do they have more time to adapt? Probably, at least in customary usage. Yeah, but yes, I mean, so obfuscate, ameliorate, or whatever. Yeah, prevaricate. These are words of Latin origin which came into the language during the Renaissance, very hard, and those that came with the Normans were more or less part of everyday vocab. Here you go, yeah. Obfuscate, 16th century, receive, 13th century. So the hardness of words is a matter of degree, and it depends to a large extent on when and how they came into the language. Generally speaking, the more Latin, the younger they are, the harder they generally are. Latin. Young, and the younger they are, the harder. I would like to refer briefly to this text here. George Mikes, and really it's Mikes, not Mikes, he's Hungarian, who famously wrote How to be a Brit, and he writes about the English language the following thing. I need my glasses here. Imagine, for instance, that the porter of the blocks of flats where you live remarks sharply that you must not put your dustbin out in front of your door before 7:30 a.m. Should you answer, please don't bully me, allow the tiresome argument may follow. Should you answer, however, with these words, I repudiate your petulant expostulations, the argument will be closed at once, and the porter will be proud of having such a highly cultured man in the block. Okay, so say, please don't bully me. Say, I repudiate your petulant expostulations. And you will look at that, yeah? Those three words, repudiate, petulant, expostulation. I mean, they are hard, all of them. And why? Because they are of Latin or French origin, but 16th century. Yeah? Petulant is French, okay? But it didn't come with the Normans. It came later. And therefore, difficult, okay? This is that. One idiosyncrasy of hard words, and I couldn't resist this idiosyncrasy. It's presumptuous. Greek, idiosyncrasy, Greek word. But forget that. But one idiosyncrasy is they exist in isolation. And I have to talk about this. Yeah? So hard words exist in isolation. What do I mean by that? Here you go. We call this the dissociation of English vocab. I mean, take this bloke here with a puppet. Yeah? In German, you would call him Bauchredner, which is translatable as belly speaker. Yeah? Bauch is belly. In German, even today, reden is speak. And if you put those two together, Bauchredner, you arrive at belly speaker, Bauchredner. In English, ventriloquist. It's isolated. Yeah? Complete. You don't have neither ventre nor loqui in the language. You just have to learn a new word. So in German, you just take two basic words, put them together, form a new one, which is fine. In English, you have to learn a completely new word, and this makes it hard. Okay, so hard words usually dissociated in English. And believe me, German vocab's much easier than English vocab. I mean, a lot of people say German is such a terrible language. Well, probably it is. It's very difficult to start with. There were all the genders and articles and things like that. But once you have your basics, it's so easy because you can make up words the way you want to. Easy. In English, it becomes more difficult and difficult if you want to manage this sort of upper class vocabulary. Okay. Anyway, Old English was still consociated, very much so. Evil will, evil willed. Okay, makes perfect sense. Yeah, quicksilver, living silver. Yeah, quicksilver. Outgang, outgo. Yeah, you see all these words. Comeliness, comer, kindness. I mean, comeliness. Yeah? So the components of these words, of these compounds, still existed in the language, and you just put them together. But today, malevolent, neither valor, volo, some of this, mercury, exit, hospitality. I mean, these are isolated words because they don't correspond to any native word. Huh? This is the most beautiful one, by the way, the whale road for the ocean. Oh, how beautiful is that? Anglo-Saxon. So, borrowings of French and Latin words, yes, this led to dissociation, and which means that the constituent parts of the words do not exist in the language. So once again, hard words, comparatively young borrowings during Renaissance, and completely dissociated. And this dissociation in English is one of the major problems of the language. And by the way, it's a certain stratification. Here we go, stratification. If you want to be upwardly mobile, you have to be able to manage that. And this is hard. Very difficult. Okay. Give you just two more, and then I call it today as far as that is concerned. I mean, ameliorate, you see, make better. Once again, melia doesn't exist in English. Yeah, this is dissociated. But if you compare this to German, verbessern, besser is better. I mean, you understand this. Verbessern means make better. Okay? You see, it's easy. You learned a German word, by the way. I mean, besser, better. It's easy to remember for Englishmen. Huh? Besser, better. And verbessern, make better. Ameliorate. Terrible is that. So it's petorate. Same thing. Peor is worse. But in German you have schlechter and verschlechtern. You see, so German, as all other Germanic languages, but English, highly consociated. English, not. Okay, here we are. Which also is, you find in missing antonyms. So you have einladen in German, and you have ausladen, invite and outvite, but you don't have this in English. You have to say uninvite. Okay, not exvite. You cannot say invite and exvite. Yeah, in German you directly have antonyms, which you don't have in English. Embark, but you don't have exbark. Okay, you have to say disembark. In German you can say einsteigen, aussteigen, something like this. Ein, aus. No problem. But also a sign of dissociation, as these here. You can't say exhausted, I'm inhosted. Here we go. Inhosted doesn't exist. Well, okay. Intimidated, extimidated. Yes, here we go. I stop here. I mean, you can have a still. Oh, look at this list, if you like. Okay.